Hello, I'm Matthew, and we're the Scoops. Now, recently I did a video giving you a tour of the outside of our property, all the way from, down the driveway and around the back area here. Showed you some of the stuff that needs to be cleaned up. But I didn't go on the inside of the house. So, against my better judgment, that's what we're going to do today. Now, before I do that, I do want to take another walk around the outside of the house just to show you a few areas that I'm going to be tackling, and then we'll move on to the inside. Now, right off the bat, one thing I'm going to point out is all along the house, you see all this like grime, this like algae buildup almost that's on the outside of the house. So at some point, I'm coming out here with a power washer. We will get this all cleaned up before we go through and paint. And we are going to paint. And it's the same across the gutters here too. Now keep in mind, as I said before, this house set for a year with nobody in it. Another thing I want to point out, and I'll do a better shot from a distance here, is this big old oak tree here. I think this is going to eventually have to come down. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the tree. It doesn't look like, for the most part. I already had to get up on the roof and saw down some of the branches. But I don't like how close it is to the house here. And here's another shot from a little further out from the house. It does have a lean to the tree, so I think that needs to come out. Now, another area that needs to be tackled is I'm going to have to replace some of the siding material here because there's little holes all throughout. And there's a few spots where this is the case. So I'm going to have to go through, get some new siding, and I'm painting it all anyway, so I'm just going to be looking for something that's pretty much the same type of siding. I'm going to start by looking at places like maybe Facebook Marketplace or something like that and see if I can't find some for either cheap or preferably free. Because all of this, everything I'm going to be doing here, I'm going to be trying to do as cheap as possible because, to be honest, we ain't got no money. And this is just a shot around the back here. Pretty much kind of the same story. Now, one thing we do want to do is screen all of the windows. I don't know what that's going to entail just yet or how we're going to tackle that, but that is going to be a thing. And that's about it for the front of the house here. Minus this deck. Now, one thing we do want to do at some point is we're going to extend from the front here and probably from this angle and give ourselves a covering over the patio. Now, it's not going to cover the entire deck. There will be this little section here that's left untouched, but that's fine because I can always maybe install a grill or something right here. Right here, where the railing is missing, I think I'm actually going to build some stairs that go out to the front area here, just wide stairs. All right, the front door, the beginning of the issues. Now, again, this is an older house. This is a house that's sat empty for the last year, and I don't know what type of projects have already been done. I can tell you that some of it I don't think was done correctly. I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. I've had little experience when it comes to construction, mostly drywall and flooring, and that's been a long time ago. But this whole door setup here is going to change at some point. Now, the door works for the time being, so it is what it is. As you can see, it's extremely dirty. There's some cracked pieces here. And so I'm going to be probably removing most of this door jamb area out as best I can without messing with the framework. And we're going to do a whole new door. And now we go inside. All right, and here's the living room. Now, as I said in the last video, we are still unpacking, so you'll have to excuse the mess. I've got stuff everywhere. I mean, there's just stuff everywhere. Half of these are empty. I just haven't disposed of them yet. But there's stuff all over the place. This place is a disaster. You got Reba over here kind of hiding from me. Now, this house is considerably smaller than the house we were renting there in Arizona. That house was somewhere between 2,200 square feet. I haven't taken any measurements in this place yet. If I had to guess, I'm thinking it's somewhere around the 1,400 square foot mark. So we've lost around 1,000 square foot. But this is that. You can see the gnarly seam down the middle. I actually took down the batten strip. It turned out it was just a lot of dust and grime that had collected. It's all popcorn ceiling, which of course anyone that's had popcorn ceiling knows that stuff collects all kinds of dirt and grime. But I pulled that down to make sure there was no mold back there because I was afraid that's what it was. It turns out there is no mold in there, so I'm grateful for that. All of the walls here have these batten strips on them. I'm going to be removing all of those pretty much throughout the entire house. There are some areas that I'm going to have to do some drywall patching. Some areas that may end up needing to be full on replaced. Like there's a big hole behind the TV here that needs to be taken care of. You know, you got spots like that over there, which are kind of messed up. Back to the door here. So you saw the outside of it. The inside's not a whole lot better. That's not wet. That's like tape. And then, you know, it's just all messed up here. So again, this is all going to be taken care of. All right, let's move on to the kitchen. So here's the kitchen again. It's a mess. Still unpacking stuff. It is what it is. I am having to adjust to having a smaller kitchen compared to, again, the house that we were living in out there in Arizona. I don't have near the storage space, so we're having to make do with a few things. I did take all of the cabinet doors off. Now, I've saved them all. I've just taken them off of the upper ones. I'm still going to do that with the lower ones. So what I've done so far is, again, this place set for a year. So I've been washing and scrubbing with just bleach and water, getting them all cleaned up, getting them ready to actually store dishes. We are going to be redoing the cabinets here. Now we're going to keep the cabinets. Cabinets are expensive and we just don't have the money to buy new ones. So what we're going to do is we're going to repurpose these. We have to reinforce a few areas. For example, the top. You got all this space up here, and I can't use it. The reason I can't is the top here is just this real flexible kind of thin board, and it's like that all the way across. And it won't support any kind of real weight. There's some areas that I think are just barely kind of hanging on. So I'm going to reinforce that, put some actual wood in there, and give myself more storage space up here. And of course, as far as the cabinets themselves, you know, we'll go through, clean it all up, you know, sand down what I need to sand down where I can. I can't do too much sanding. It's just like this cheap particle board stuff. But I can go through, clean it up, and then we will go and paint these with whatever color scheme we decide to paint here in the kitchen. Another thing I want to do is redo the way that these are braced and held up. It's just these posts, it seems like, that go all the way down to the countertop, and it's like this all the way around. So we're going to be redoing all of that. Another thing we're going to be actually replacing, this is one area that we're going to spend some money on, is the actual countertops themselves. They're all this kind of this red, weird top, and I don't like it. And so I think what we will do, I want butcher block. So if I can get butcher block countertops at a price that I can afford, then we're going to go with that. And we're going to actually replace all the countertops We haven't decided whether or not the sink is going to stay here or not. I don't know how extensive of a remodel we're going to be able to do in here. The sink itself, we will keep. There's nothing wrong with the sink. May or may not change out some of the hardware like the faucets and stuff. This is where the dishwasher was. We're probably just going to turn that into more counter space, or cabinet space rather. We never really used the dishwasher at our old place, so I don't think we'll need to now. And then the flooring. The flooring will be the last thing that we do, but it's all just this like vinyl laminate stuff. Here's a tear in the floor here actually, and you can just kind of see it's, I mean, that's what covers, I think, pretty much all through the house here. So we'll be redoing all of that. But that'll be some of the last stuff we do. As you can see, I'm using our folding table as kind of like a makeshift island. There is no stove, so I'm on the lookout for a stove right now. We will be going with electric to start with. I do eventually want to go gas. We'll probably do that later on because I'll need to run gas line and get a regulator set up. And then we'll have to get a hold of the gas company so we can find out where the tank would be at, you know, the best place for it. And then I can run the lines accordingly and put a probably landing pad to mount the tank on. Now let's move on to one of our trouble areas, which is the laundry area. There's the cabinets I talked about. Now we have the washing machine. I don't have a dryer, and the dryer space is where we start running into some issues. Now when it comes to the air, of course, you know, you got these vents in all the floors, and this goes all through the house here. The front half of the house has no air circulation, and I thought maybe it's a blocked vent or something to that effect. Turns out that something else happened. Let me move this stuff here. I'll put it here because there's a hole in the floor, which was, I believe, for the dryer exhaust. So let's see if I can get some light down in there. So I don't know if you can see, but that goes all the way to the ground. And I believe all of that space right there, I believe some of that anyway, I'll have to get under the house and take an actual look. But I believe some of that was the vent, which has been drilled through and disrupted. Needless to say, not super excited when I saw that. So I'll be getting under the house here in the next few days. It may end up having to wait till next weekend because I start my new job on Monday, so I don't have a whole lot of time here during the week. But I'll need to see what I need to do about getting that fixed because we need heat in the front half of the house. All right, so let's move back out towards the living room area, and we're going to check out some of the other areas of the house here. I am just going to, I guess, go from one side to the other again, back in the living room. And we got the master bedroom here. Again, it's a mess. I'm still unpacking. Forgive the mess. There's not much going on here. It's just your standard bedroom area. But then you have the master bath. Now, we have not been using the master bath. First off, there's not even a door handle on this thing, but there's some reasons for that. So this is where a tub was. I had to take it out because this mess right here had a busted pipe. And so we had to actually replace a couple sections of it actually. There's an area on the outside that has access, and then of course there was one in here. It was this particular one right here up on top that was busted. Now all of this is going to be getting redone here soon, but as you can see, there's some moisture happening. Now when we first fixed the piping, there was no apparent leaks, and all of that area dried up completely. You can even see like that lighter area there was all wet too, and that all dried up. And it stayed dry until recently when I came in here to check on something. I don't remember what it was, and I noticed it was wet because we've been using the other bathroom. And I think one of the lines, because there's like 3 lines back in here, one of the lines goes to the bathroom, which is right next door through that wall. And when the water gets used there, I think there's a leak in here. Now that's going to have to be taken care of pretty much immediately. As a matter of fact, I may be working on that tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I already got more pipe, and I still have, the glue, and I have several fittings. That bag is actually full of more fittings. So I have pretty much everything I need to get the piping finished, but I'm probably going to have to end up replacing all of that section of wood there, and probably into the drywall as well. I'll put down some bleach after I'm done, just as a precautionary measure to help fight against potential mold buildup. But I'm gonna have to get back in there and take a look at all of this. Now, the reason that we don't use this bathroom, the sink works, the shower does not, because it doesn't even have a shower head. I'm sure water works, because water is actually dripping out of there. So I'm going to have to get that fixed. But this whole shower is just a disaster. Now this is like paint. It's not like dirt and grime. This is literally paint that has come off. That's why it looks the way it does. This is all coming out. Now, I've mentioned before, we got a really good deal on this. I'm sure now you're starting to see why this house is an old house. So we're back out to the living room. We still got 2 bedrooms and the other bath. This is where I've been utilizing facilities. This is going to eventually get remodeled. This will be a later one. Everything works in here, so I'm not going to mess with this too much. Again, popcorn ceiling, gotta go. This is the office. So my setup over in that corner. Monty's setup will be right here. I don't have her computer and stuff because, well, she has it. She's still been working remotely. I'll do something with the curtain area later on down the road. This is where I do all my editing. Yes, I'm a bit of a comic book and Star Wars nerd. But yeah, this is where I do all my editing. And then, of course, the other bedroom, which currently is kind of a makeshift storage at the moment. It is a disaster, but another area that has no real detrimental issues aside from, busted door. And there you have it. This is our new home. So a lot of work to do, a whole lot of work to do. Some of it cosmetic, some of it structural, at least as far as, some of the flooring, like that bathroom area. That master bathroom is going to be a chore. That kitchen area is going to be a chore. But that master bathroom, I think, is probably going to be one of the areas that gives us some of the most trouble. The kitchen is going to be a lot of work, but I don't know that it's going to be a lot of trouble. We'll see what happens with that. But that master bathroom, I find it a little daunting. So that being said, as I start going through this house and fixing things, repairing things, replacing things, repurposing things, at some point crawling under the house, as all of these projects start to unfold, I will bring y'all along and share it with everybody. So you'll get to see firsthand how I'm probably screwing things up. Hopefully not too badly, but it is what it is. One thing I would like from y'all is any kind of advice outside of, burn it down. But if you happen to notice anything, maybe there's something that you notice that I haven't. If you have any advice on how to actually do some of these repairs, even as I start working on this stuff, I can guarantee I'm going to be asking how you would have done it, how you would have done it better, different. Keep following us. Thank you for your support. We'll see you on the next one.